Hey guys, what's happening? So I got a 2013 Subaru Forester here. Got to figure it out. Yeah, it has a lot of blow-by, a lot of crankcase blow-by. So I got to figure that out. It's a family member's car. But, I mean, it only has 8,000 miles on it, but it has all the telltale signs of a positive crankcase ventilation. It seems like it's clogged or something. I'll go through that, but I know a lot of people have recently subscribed because of my CB videos, but if you're not familiar with my channel is more like a problem-solving channel. So 1 minute, you know, might be troubleshooting a oscilloscope, fixing an oscilloscope, rebuilding CB radios, you know, fixing computers, servers. I mean, I work in IT for a living, but I've been fixing cars my whole life. I think when I was I guess I worked as a mechanic for a while when I was in my early teens, 20s, when I was going to school for computers, computer science. So let me show you the what's up with the I have all the telltale signs of a clogged positive crankcase ventilation system. But I worked on this car a couple weeks ago, and I told her to bring it back because I had some issues. So when I first saw this car, this hose was blown off right here. So this is the actual fresh air inlet into the engine. So if you're not familiar with a positive crankcase ventilation, so what it does is, on most typical modern cars, you'll have two hoses to the crankshaft, or into the crankcase. One that sucks in filtered air into the engine, the other one sucks it out. On the positive side, it sucks it back into the combustion chamber after the throttle body. So the clean air comes in before the throttle body, filtered air through the air box here, and then sent back behind the throttle body into the intake stream and reburnt again in the combustion chamber. So what I was saying is the telltale signs were this thing has a lot of blow-by. There's a lot of pressure. I'll fire at the engine so you can see it, but there's a lot of blow-by here. And there's actually a lot of sludge in the oil too. So if you're not getting proper ventilation, your oil is if you're not getting those exhaust gases, you're going to get your oil will sludge up really, really fast. And if you're not familiar with like engines and stuff, so the crankcase gas is just the gas that goes, it's the combustion gas that goes past the rings. Every car has it, no matter what. It goes in your crankcase and needs to be sucked out of your crankcase, or you sludge your oil up and it gunks everything up. So that's gunky. I'm having a lot of blow-by. I'll fire the car up. I mean, like an insane amount of blow-by. Like, normally the blow-by should be pretty much equal. I mean, you shouldn't be blowing me a little bit coming out, but it should almost be like equal pressure. You know, if your positive crankcase ventilation system is working. So on this car, this is a Subaru engine, boxer engine. But what I was saying is it only has 80,000 miles on it, and the oil change has been done correctly. So, but like I said, the oil won't last nearly as long if you know, you don't have good ventilation. So I think it's either down here or here. I gotta look at it. I gotta see where it's clogged. But another telltale sign too is, and I'm surprised that the mechanics that looked at this originally didn't see it, but they wanted to pull the engine down, reseal the front of the engine. Like, there's a big timing chain cover that goes across here, and so it was leaking oil. I just cleaned the engine off a couple weeks ago. You know, I put some of that, you know, what's it called, some stiction eliminator in there, hot shots. The reason why is I was getting a cam phaser. Well, I don't even know if this thing actually has cam phasers, but I was getting like a cam phaser kind of alarm code, but, and like I said, the sludge and the oil will also create that issue too. It'll make all these valves sticky, you know? So that's why I put the stiction eliminator in there. Yeah, I use it to like free up, like on my F250, I use it to free up the injectors or like anything that's sticky valve related. Alright, so let's fire this up and I'll show you the crankcase pressure. But what I was saying earlier is that this hose was blown off originally when I saw it. So this thing is generating some serious pressure. So I probably got to go into here and look at this, if I can reach in there, to see if it's even clogged up or something. Hey, take a look at that. That is definitely not a good sign, having oil in your coolant. You know, when I worked on this thing about 2 weeks ago, I noticed that the oil was low, but that's horrible. And that's actually another thing. It's another thing that's down here, that these things are known to fail. And I think it's also related to that PVC system because it's overpressure. There's some seals in there, and it's like a exchanger. So I don't know, man. Good thing she got a new car already, because yeah, that positive. I mean, it's like it's a known problem with these cars, man. It can destroy the engine. And also, there's some tapping sound. I should probably check the oil again. Yeah, this was full 2 weeks ago. So, all right. Now, let me show you the blow-by. Alright guys, shouldn't be blowing my cap off like that. Man, this thing is jacked. Alright, at least I'll try to fix the PVC system first. And that should just be taking this hose off over here. Put a little PB blaster on there. You know, because it's sucking in hot exhaust gas all the time, these hoses are typically get hard and brittle. So down there there's like a valve. My light, take the air box off. Well, at least the air box intake hose. So it's just a couple different hose clamps and the air inlet valve, crankcase air inlet valve. So hope you can see that there down there, that little brass thing. The little brass fitting right there, that's the part that I gotta take off. You know, if you're having trouble getting the hose off, WD-40 or this PB blaster, any sort of penetrant will definitely soften the stuff up, soften the rubber up. There it is. Alright, I hope you guys can see that. There it is. Here's a closer look at the PCV valve on my bench here. I don't know if it's clogged or not yet, but fix my oscilloscope here. Well, I mean, something's causing that blow-by. So either it's worn out rings or this thing is stuck. But that doesn't feel stuck though. So, alright, I'm gonna ultrasonic clean this just in case. Alright, so I'm gonna ultrasonic clean this thing, but I'm gonna fill it with some soap first. Hot water. Let the soak seep in there. So I'm starting to think this is just a bad engine. We'll find out. Alright, let's watch the oil come off and the stuff when you first put it on there. I'm going to turn around too and let the oil or the soap get in there. You know, if you're wondering why it's like a spring-loaded valve in there, it's in case you have an intake backfire. So if an intake backfire, it's not going to set in flames in your crankcase. So when it backfires, it will close that valve. Alright, so as I'm cleaning the PCV valve, the oil and the coolant can be caused from this PCV crossover. There's the thing under the AC pump here, so I may have to take the intake off. Maybe actually no, I don't have to take the intake off. I just got to take the AC compressor off. So, and I'll do the alternator. Yeah, the part, you can get a cheap one on Amazon for like 11 or 12 bucks. Like, this car, since she got a new car already, so it's not even really, this is, I mean, I can kind of make this correct, but this is, we're going to resell this car, so either we take it into a dealership, or, you know, as is, or just try to fix it for a couple of bucks, a couple of hours of time here. So, yeah, it's going to suck because I'm going to have to flush this cooling system out. So, if we're going to go that route. So, right, so I got it wrapped in some Teflon tape, but you should be able to hear it rattle in there. You know? If it's not rattling, then you have an issue. I mean, these things are pretty cheap. I think like 20 bucks or 10 bucks on Amazon. But all you got to do is clean them out. Now, on the air inlet side, all you have to do is when you put your mouth on here, breathe in and out. If it's clogged up, you'll know. Air compressor. I mean, it's really unlikely this side is going to clog up because it's just an open hole that gets fed in here. You know, over the years, I've worked on hundreds of engines, and I mean, every engine has its design flaw, so it's not just Subaru. Every engine I've ever worked on had some sort of catastrophic flaw. This will probably kill the engine, but I want to see if we're... Okay, we're getting suction. That's a good sign. But this actually rattles through that hose right here while the inlet goes in there, so... Still pretty bad. I mean, the engine sounds pretty good. I'll put that hose back on here. I feel some exhaust coming out of here. Yeah. That's not usually a good thing. Alright, so yeah, there is a crossover. So this is, to me, this is like, I mean, this is kind of what I do for a living. I just troubleshoot all day long. Yeah, typically I'll go into a data center and I'll try to figure out what the hell's happening. I'll walk into a room, hundreds of servers maybe, firewalls, switches, and try to figure out what the problems are. Yeah, because usually when they call me, they've already given up. Yeah, they're kind of like at their wits end, internet's down, who knows, you know, phone system's down. So by the time they call me, they're usually pretty frustrated. Alright, so, I gotta look at the schematic or like the design of this engine and see like what this PCV crossover, what role it plays. So because it's the way the engine's a boxer and it has two halves, so you can see the crankcase is almost like a VW bug engine, the way it's designed, you know, with the boxer engine, you know, parallel. That's the part that came in. Yeah, looks like I'm just going to take this cover off here. Alternator, power connector, and I'm just going to unbolt take the belt off and then pull the AC air compressor or AC compressor up and out of the way. It's down there. It seems like most of oil, I mean, like I said, oil will always go to the top when it comes to water and fluid. Like the water is heavier than the oil, so oil will come to the top. That's why, like when you have an oil, like a oil leak, you know, like in an ocean, it'll always just stay on the top, typically. I gotta clean this out too. That's filled with oil. I'm gonna run some Dawn through it. You can do like dishwasher soap or, you know, Dawn or whatever, or you can buy like radiator flush, but we don't want to put a lot of money in this car, because we're not going to keep it. So, alright, let's come out of it. Look at that. Like I said, it looks like it's mainly like located at the top, so hopefully it wasn't that bad. Yeah, I'm definitely losing coolant though, and oil looks fine. So, you know, I'm not going to go through every step, but just basically, you take the bolts off and things look obvious. Like here, let the cover off, and just pull it up. Yeah, hopefully there's just two bolts here. Yeah, there was rodents in this car, and they were bringing snails into the engine to eat the snails. So originally there was like hundreds of snail shells everywhere that I blew out my compressor and degreased it, but that's not the part that we need to get to right there. Spray this stuff with it. I don't see any leaks. I mean, I just sprayed it with some PV Blaster because, like I said earlier, these anything that relates to exhaust gases will get hard and brittle. So I'm trying not to break it as I pulled up. So a couple hose clamps, 3 bolts. Yeah, this is a horrible design, man. They have the coolant so close to the exhaust gases. Like if any of these seals blow, you're either going to get oil in your fluid or fluid in your oil. That's no good right there. You know what I mean? Like, why even chance it right there? That's, you know, it's catastrophic failure waiting to happen. Alright, so it's going to take off the first time. So if this is not the issue, then this car has some serious, either internal issues or the transmission cooler is leaking. So the car's What's that, like a web in between? It looks pretty dry between the two. I mean, like I said, I actually heard some tapping this morning. Tap, 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 tap. But this thing is burning a lot of oil. I mean, a little bit of tapping, and then it went away, you know, like piston slap or something, possibly. So, yeah, if we're getting oil in that coolant, it's either internal engine or that radiator, and if that's not the issue. Alright, so I got a little rubbing alcohol on this paper towel, clean up the surfaces. Alright, so I like when they have those metal clips in there. That just prevents you from over torquing it so you don't break it. You know, if you have the right tools, you can definitely do this under an hour. I mean, I probably like 30-45 minutes in this so far. Yeah, probably 30 minutes. I'm going to try to flush it just a little bit of that oil. Because all the oil is on the top. I'm going to try to flush it through the radiator at least a little bit. If there's any residual. So now it's going to fill back up and just keep on running it to see if the... I mean, I'm not going to put any fluid in it because I don't know if it's still leaking oil or putting oil in the coolant. So, going to do some flushing, run some water through it, maybe put some Dawn dishwasher soap in it maybe. I'm letting it heat up with the heater on max. So I'm trying to get any residual oil in there, and hopefully new oil, not new oil is coming in, but yeah, I hear a slight tapping over here, and then it sounds like there might be a little bit of a cold piston slap too. I don't know for sure. So I'm gonna periodically just kind of pour some water in there to get the oil out of it. So here's a closer look at the part. Today's a new day. This has been going over a couple days. So I don't know, there really shouldn't be any rust there. I mean, that could just be old oil. Not sure. So I'm going to run some Cascade through it. Yeah, I mean, you can actually do Dawn, but Dawn is... You want to use soap that doesn't foam up so much. So I'm going to add a little bit of water to dilute this a little bit so it goes in easier. And then run it through there. I don't need a lot because the leak is not that bad. So just the initial flush has actually helped out a lot. So I don't know if this is... So I want to flush it to see if I fix the problem. If I didn't fix the problem, then the oil will keep on coming back. So, okay, so I'm going to let that thing idle for like 30 or 45 minutes. Let it get thoroughly hot. Heater's on high. And come back here. So the goal is I'm trying to... I don't want to see any more residual oil coming out of here. So it keeps on coming out. Like I said, I don't know how. The Dawn will cling to the oil and take the oil out of suspension and kind of like emulsify it. You know, this engine sounds really, really good. You know, I don't hear... It has 80,000 miles on it, so... Plus, I don't really see any bubbles come out of there. I mean, sometimes when you have a blown head gasket, you'll see bubbles come into the coolant. What's also cool about the Cascade is when the oil bubbles come up, you can see it, and then they just dissipate. You know? So you'll see like an oil bubble come up. Like a white oil bubble, and it will just like emulsify. Yeah. Alright, so if I keep on seeing this after 45 minutes, then I know this oil's coming from somewhere. Yeah, I checked all the different dipsticks, and I don't see milkshake in these things, so I don't feel like there's fluid getting into these. Coolant getting into the transmission. Let me just get the axle. Let's see right here. Yeah, I don't see any milkshake on that thing, so... Because of the excessive blowback, maybe I blew up one of the internal seals. Yeah, I'm not getting milk taking the oil, but you know, this is turning extremely milky here. I also notice it's a lot more intense when it gets warmed up, but now that it's bubbling like this, it could be a head gasket that once the engine warms up, it kind of warps and opens up a little bit. Yeah, it's definitely a lot more milky like this because of the Cascade. But well, one of the things you could do if you wanted to verify that it's not the radiator leaking internally, like the cooler, the transmission cooler, is do a pressure check, and then see if bubbles come out of the radiator. But I'm not going to do that. I mean, it's clearly oil. So yeah, I mean, the fact that we have so much blow-by. I mean, some people say that there's a lot of blow-by is normal for a Subaru, but yeah, I've been working on engines for 30 years, and that seems very excessive to me, so that doesn't seem normal. Plus, I have slight pistons. It sounds like I have like a piston slap when it's cold. So it could be like a bad ring or, you know, obviously clearance, piston clearance. So, alright, so I think you probably flush this maybe 4 or 5 times. Go around the block. You know, throughout the day. And I don't see any more oil bubbles coming up, so maybe I fix it, maybe? I don't know, I'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, that'd be great if I fixed it, you know, that little thing in there right there, like that EGR, not EGR, but the PCV water pipe, which is a horrible design. You should never have your water in that, you know, you shouldn't have things that could cross-contaminate so close together. Alright, yeah, I don't see any more of those bubbles coming up, you know, like the oil bubbles. I may have flushed it probably 1 or 2 more times. It's not hard to flush, it's just a Phillips screwdriver. I can drain it and fill the radiator up. But things you want it to get hot because you want to free up, you want it to loosen up that, you want to heat up the oil so it actually like, you know, makes it easier to flow. You want the oil to come to the top, you know, up here, and I just, when it comes up, I just kind of add a little water and overflow it so it gets out of the radiator because it wants to come to the highest point. Alright, so that's the end of this video. So I got to fill up with that blue coolant there, but yeah, it seemed like I got the oil out of it. So either somebody accidentally put oil into the coolant thing, or like I said, it's pretty common for those things to leak oil. So maybe this was leaking. I don't know. I'm not sure. So yeah, I got the oil cleaned out. Doesn't seem like it's coming back. So that's a good sign. You know, if we were gonna keep this car, then probably the next thing I'd do would be probably a compression test, just to make sure, check the, you know, see how good the cylinders are sealing, you know, to try to figure out that blow-by situation. Some people say that's normal for Subarus, but that doesn't seem normal to me. So, right, but yeah, I mean, the car sounds and runs good. It's pretty peppy, actually, you know. And it's actually the non-turbo version too. So, all right, so that's cool. All right, awesome. So yeah, let me know what you think down below with the blow-by situation, if that's normal or not. But it doesn't seem normal to me. Nice and clean radiator. So, all right, cool. Hopefully this video helps somebody. Awesome.